First contact in the engine room. The rhythmic hum of the Stellar Horizons engines was off by exactly 3 hertz. Most people wouldn't notice such a minute difference, but to Chief Engineer Sarah Chen, it might as well have been a warning klaxon. She'd spent 15 years maintaining deep space cargo vessels, and every ship had its own voice. Right now, the horizon was whispering that something wasn't right. Sarah grabbed her diagnostic tablet and tool belt, her calloused fingers automatically checking each implement as she strode through the cramped corridors of the engineering section. The rest of the crew was asleep during this shift cycle, leaving her alone with the ship's steady pulse. And the troubling dissonance. "Computer, run diagnostic sweep of engine compartment 3, she commanded, ducking under a low-hanging pipe. The computer chirped in acknowledgement, but Sarah was already moving. Whatever was wrong, she'd find it faster with her own eyes and hands. The maintenance tunnels leading to the engine core were a maze of pipes, cables, and support struts. Sarah navigated them with practiced ease, her boots making barely a sound on the metal gratings. The deeper she went, the more pronounced the frequency variation became. Something was definitely interfering with the antimatter containment field's harmonics. She rounded a corner and froze. There, wedged between 2 coolant pipes, was a shape that didn't belong. In the dim emergency lighting, she could make out a silvery, almost translucent membrane stretched between what looked like support struts. But as her eyes adjusted, she realized she was looking at wings. Actual, biological wings, folded around a humanoid form. Sarah's hand instinctively moved to her comm unit, but she hesitated. Years of experience had taught her to assess before acting. The figure wasn't moving, and her diagnostic readings showed no immediate danger to the ship's systems. In fact, the being appeared to be using the harmonic resonance from the engines to stay hidden from the ship's sensors. Clever, if potentially dangerous. "I know you're aware I'm here," Sarah said quietly, keeping her voice steady. "And you know you're affecting my engine's containment field. Let's talk about fixing both those issues." The wings shifted, revealing a face that was both alien and strikingly expressive. Large, compound eyes reflected the emergency lights like faceted gems, and what Sarah had first taken for silver skin was actually a fine layer of iridescent scales. The alien was smaller than she'd initially thought, perhaps 5 feet tall when standing. "You are." The alien's voice was melodic, almost musical, remarkably calm. Sarah shrugged, though she kept her stance ready. "I've got bigger problems than a stowaway if my engines fail. Are you hurt?" The alien's wings rustled, a sound like wind through crystal. "No, but they are hunting me. I calculated that the engine's resonance would mask my biosignature. I apologize for the disruption." "That was smart thinking," Sarah admitted, her engineer's mind already appreciating the physics involved. "But you're putting stress on my containment field. Give me 5 minutes, and I can show you a better spot that won't risk a breach." The alien's eyes shifted, geometric patterns of light dancing across their surface. "You would help me. You're clever enough to hide using harmonic interference, but careful enough not to damage my ship. That tells me you're neither stupid nor malicious." Sarah took a slow step forward. "I'm Sarah Chen, Chief Engineer. Want to tell me who's hunting you and why?" The alien moved with liquid grace as they extracted themselves from between the pipes. Standing, they were exactly as tall as Sarah had estimated, with wings that somehow caught and reflected the minimal light. "I am called Zixna. I was property. A research specimen. They believe my kind holds the key to faster-than-light travel without the need for massive engines." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Property? You mean slaves?" "The consortium does not recognize the concept of individual rights for non-spacefaring species." Zixna's voice carried a harmonic of bitterness. "They found my world before we had achieved spaceflight. By their laws, we were resources to be used." "Yeah, well, human laws are different," Sarah said firmly. "And you're on a human ship now. Follow me. I know a spot where you can rest safely while we figure this out." Zixna hesitated. The consortium has agents everywhere. If they find me here, your ship, your crew, will have made their own choice. Sarah finished. She pulled out her tablet and began adjusting engine harmonics to compensate for the previous interference. Besides, I've got a few tricks they haven't seen before. Nobody knows these engines like I do. The alien's wings shimmered with what Sarah was beginning to recognize as emotion. You would risk yourself for a stranger. An alien. I'm risking myself for someone who needs help, Sarah corrected, finishing her adjustments. The fact that you can probably teach me some fascinating things about quantum harmonics is just a bonus. Now come on, we need to get you settled before the next shift change. As they made their way through the maintenance tunnels, Sarah's mind was already racing with possibilities. The consortium, whatever it was, clearly had no idea what they were dealing with. They might see humans as just another primitive species to exploit, but they'd learn. Sarah Chen had spent her life solving problems, fixing the impossible, and keeping her ship running against all odds. Now she had a new challenge, keeping her unexpected guests safe while finding a way to strike back at an interstellar power that treated sentient beings as property. The engine's hum had returned to normal, but Sarah could feel the vibration of change in the air. Something big was starting, right here in the depths of her engine room. Zixna's wings rustled behind her, and Sarah smiled. The consortium was about to learn why you don't underestimate humans, especially human engineers with a cause. First things first, Sarah said as they approached her private workshop. Let's get you comfortable, and then you can tell me everything you know about these consortium bastards. I've got some ideas they're not going to like at all. The alien's crystalline wings caught the light as they ducked into the workshop, and Sarah could have sworn they chimed with something like hope. The price of freedom. Sarah's workshop was a testament to human adaptability. A cluttered space where official Stellar Corporation equipment sat alongside her own ingenious modifications. As she sealed the door behind them, Zixna's compound eyes swept across the room, taking in every detail. The harmonics here. The alien's wings vibrated slightly. You've created a dampening field. Good catch, Sarah grinned, tossing her tablet onto a workbench. I like my privacy when I'm working. The field masks heat signatures and electronic emissions. As far as the ship's sensors are concerned, this room barely exists. She cleared a space among her projects, pushing aside what looked like a half-disassembled power converter. Now tell me about these consortium folks while I work on making the space more comfortable for you. Zixna's wings folded tight against their back, a gesture Sarah was beginning to recognize as anxiety. The Consortium of Advanced Species claims authority over all pre-FTL civilizations in this sector. The alien's voice carried harmonic undertones of distress. They found my world 50 cycles ago. We had just achieved atmospheric flight. Sarah's hands still on her tools. Perfect timing for them. Advanced enough to be useful, not advanced enough to fight back. Precisely. They claimed our crystalline biology held secrets to more efficient, faster-than-light travel. My people were harvested, studied. Those who showed particular resonance with quantum fields were bred selectively. Like you? Sarah asked softly. Zixna's wings chimed a mournful note. I was born in their laboratories. They called me their greatest success, able to manipulate quantum fields through biological harmonics. But I refused to be their tool. When they transported me to a new facility, I escaped. Sarah was about to respond when her tablet chirped in alert. Her eyes narrowed as she read the display. Well, shit. Looks like your former owners work fast. We've got an incoming ship requesting emergency docking. Claims to be Stellar Corp security. They're not. Zixna's wings flattened completely. The consortium has agents throughout human space. They must have detected my escape pod's trajectory. Yeah, well, they don't know who they're dealing with. Sarah cracked her knuckles and moved to a different workbench. Remember how I said I had some tricks they haven't seen? Time to show you what human engineers can do when we're properly motivated. She pulled up the ship's schematics on her main display. The consortium thinks they're so advanced. Let's see how they handle some good old-fashioned human improvisation. Zixna, I need you to tell me exactly how your quantum harmonics work. The alien moved closer, wings beginning to shimmer with curiosity. You have a plan. The beginnings of one. They're expecting to find a frightened fugitive. Instead, they're going to get a lesson in why you don't mess with humanity. Sarah's fingers flew across her console. How do you feel about a little quantum mechanics experiment? Over the next hour, as the consortium ship drew closer, Sarah's workshop became a flurry of activity. She modified systems, rerouted power, and created what she called a quantum feedback loop using Zixna's natural abilities combined with the ship's engines. It's elegant, Zixna observed, wings shimmering with what Sarah now recognized as excitement. Using my resonance as a carrier wave through your engine's harmonic field, while my modifications amplify and redirect it, Sarah finished, tightening the last connection. When they try to scan for your quantum signature, they'll get a nasty surprise. Speaking of which, she tapped her comm. Bridge, this is Chen. That incoming ship, don't let them dock. Their emergency might be contagious. Copy that, Chief. Captain Rodriguez's voice came back. They're being pretty insistent, claiming priority override codes. Trust me, Captain. Keep them at a distance. I'm reading some strange harmonics from their drive signature. Might be dangerous to let them too close. It wasn't exactly a lie. Sarah was about to make those harmonics very strange indeed. Understood. They won't get within 1,000 kilometers. Sarah turned to Zixna, ready to show them what happens when human engineering meets quantum biology. The alien's wings spread slightly, catching the workshop's lights like living prisms. I admit, I never imagined using my abilities this way. The consortium always demanded precision, control. Yeah, well, sometimes the best solution is to break all the rules. Sarah grinned. Now, focus your resonance through that modified power coupling. Let's give them a light show they won't forget. As the consortium ship came within range, Sarah's jury-rigged system sprang to life. Zixna's natural quantum harmonics, amplified and twisted through human technology, created a cascade of false signatures. To the consortium's sensors, it would appear as if dozens of crystalline beings were scattered across nearby space. They're launching scanning probes, Zixna reported, wings vibrating in concert with the ship's engines. The harmonic feedback is, they're getting conflicting readings. Their targeting systems can't lock on to any single source. Sarah watched with satisfaction as the consortium ship's orderly approach pattern became erratic. Looks like they don't handle uncertainty very well. Let's add some spice to the mix. She adjusted several controls, causing the phantom signatures to shift and multiply. Fascinating. Zixna's voice carried harmonics of wonder. You've turned my quantum resonance into a weapon, but without causing harm. The consortium would never think to use technology this way. That's because they're too focused on control, Sarah said, monitoring the chaos she'd created. Humans, we thrive on adaptation, making things work in ways they were never intended to. Speaking of which, she hit several commands in rapid succession. The consortium ship suddenly went dark, its systems overwhelmed by the quantum feedback. When it restored power several minutes later, its drive signature had changed. They were preparing to retreat. They're leaving. Zixna's wings chimed with disbelief. You actually drove them away. For now, Sarah cautioned, already thinking ahead. They'll be back with better countermeasures, but this gives us time to prepare. And believe me, they haven't seen anything yet. She turned to her alien companion, whose crystalline form seemed to glow with newfound hope. You know what this means, right? You're not just a fugitive anymore. You're proof that their whole system is built on lies. If one of their specimens can turn their own tech against them, others might resist as well. Zixna finished, wings spreading in what Sarah now knew was determination. But they will never stop hunting me. Good thing you've got a human engineer on your side then. Sarah was already sketching new modifications on her tablet. Because I've got some ideas about how to hit them where it really hurts. Ready to help me break their entire system. The alien's crystalline wings caught the light, chiming a chord that needed no translation. It was the sound of freedom, of defiance, and of hope. The consortium had no idea what they'd started when they pushed their slaves too far. Now they were about to learn why humans had a reputation for making the impossible possible, especially when fighting for a righteous cause. First, Sarah said, pulling up more ship schematics, let me show you how we're going to turn their own quantum technology against them. They think they're the masters of this science. Wait until they see what happens when human creativity meets crystalline precision. The engine's hum took on a new note, as if the ship itself was eager for the coming fight. Trust under fire. The Stellar Horizons mess hall was empty during the night shift, but Sarah had brought dinner to her workshop anyway. Old habits died hard, especially when you were hiding a crystalline alien fugitive. She was halfway through explaining the concept of coffee to Zixna when her tablet erupted with alerts. That's not good, Sarah muttered, scanning the readings. Engine efficiency just dropped 12% across all systems, but the diagnostic shows nothing. Zixna's wings flared with alarm. The harmonics feel wrong. Different from before. Sarah was already moving, her coffee forgotten. Someone's accessing the engine controls from inside the ship, but these command codes, she trailed off, her face hardening. They're executive level. Consortium's got someone on board. A sleeper agent. Zixna's wings pulled tight against their back. They often place infiltrators in key positions, and they just made their move. Sarah yanked open a panel, revealing a rat's nest of modified circuitry. They're trying to disable the engines, probably to leave us dead in space until their ships arrive. Not on my watch. She turned to Zixna. I need your help. Your quantum sensing. Can you trace the source of the interference? The alien's compound eyes shifted in geometric patterns. Yes, but I would need to extend my field throughout the ship. They would detect me. Let them. Sarah's grin was fierce. In fact, I'm counting on it. Remember our little quantum feedback trick. Time to take it shipwide. But first, she pulled up the ship's internal communications on her tablet and hit the emergency channel. Captain, this is Chen. We've got a serious situation. Someone's tampering with engine controls using executive codes. Request permission to initiate emergency protocol Delta 7. There was a moment of static before Rodriguez's voice came through, tense but controlled. Granted, Chief. How bad is it? Bad enough that I'm about to shut down every system on this ship and restart from protected backups. Might want to warn the crew to hold on to something. She closed the channel and turned to Zixna, ready to help me save the ship. The alien's wings chimed with determination. What do you need me to do? Stretch out with your quantum field. Find our saboteur. I'll handle the rest. Sarah's fingers flew across multiple interfaces. And Zixna, don't hold back. Show them what you can really do. What followed was a symphony of human ingenuity and alien power. As Zixna's quantum field expanded through the ship's corridors, Sarah initiated her emergency protocol. Every system on the stellar horizon went dark for precisely 3 seconds, and when they came back online, they were running on Sarah's private backup, isolated from executive control. Got you. Zixna's voice carried harmonic overtones of triumph. Upper deck, Section 4. They're trying to quantum lock your backup systems. Not gonna work, Sarah said grimly, watching her monitors. Because they're not fighting my systems anymore. They're fighting us. She had spent years modifying the stellar horizon systems, adding layers of protection and control that went far beyond standard specifications. Now, with Zixna's quantum abilities working in concert with her engineering expertise, they were creating something entirely new. Their quantum lock is faltering, Zixna reported, wings shimmering with effort. They've never encountered resistance like this. Of course not. Sarah's hands danced across her controls. They think in straight lines. Control, domination, brute force. But humans, we think sideways. We improvise. We adapt. And right now, she hit a final sequence of commands. Throughout the ship, emergency bulkheads slammed into place, compartmentalizing the vessel into secure sections. In Section 4, where their saboteur lurked, the air began to shimmer with visible quantum distortions. What? What are you doing? Zixna asked, wings vibrating in harmony with the energy field. Remember how you said your people can manipulate quantum fields naturally? Well, I just turned this entire section into one big quantum resonance chamber. Your field, amplified through my technology. They wanted to find you. Sarah's smile was predatory. Now they're trapped in a room with your power at full strength. Through the security feeds, they watched as a figure in a stellar corp uniform staggered, clearly overwhelmed by the quantum energies saturating the space. The saboteur's form flickered, their chain-leonic disguise failing under the onslaught of focused quantum energy. Security teams are moving in, Sarah noted with satisfaction. But more importantly, we just proved something. The consortium's not invincible. Their tech, their agents, their whole system of control. It can be beaten. Zixna's wings spread wide, catching and refracting the workshop's lights in a display of chromatic brilliance. By working together, my abilities alone would never have. And my tech modifications wouldn't have worked without your quantum manipulation, Sarah finished. That's the thing about humans. We're really good at finding partners, combining strengths. The consortium sees other species as resources to be exploited. We see allies. The captured infiltrator was being led away in quantum dampening restraints, but Sarah was already thinking ahead. You know what this means, right? We just proved that your people's abilities can be amplified and controlled through human technology, not for exploitation, for liberation. Zixna's compound eyes shifted in complex patterns. You want to free my people. I want to help you free your people, Sarah corrected. And now we know how. The consortium thinks they're the only ones who can harness quantum technologies. Wait until they see what happens when human engineering meets crystalline evolution, with both sides working together willingly. She pulled up new schematics on her workstation. First, we need to upgrade the ship's quantum shielding. Then we modify the sensor arrays to detect consortium agents at range. And then, she looked at her alien companion with a mix of determination and excitement. Then we start planning how to break into their research facilities. Zixna's wings chimed a chord that seemed to resonate with the ship's own hum. You would risk everything to help my species. Welcome to humanity, Sarah said simply. When we see something wrong, we fix it, even if we have to break all the rules of physics to do it. She gestured at her workshop, now humming with hybrid human crystalline technology. Want to help me redesign some quantum engines? I've got some ideas that'll make the consortium's head spin. The alien's crystalline form caught the light, refracting it into patterns that seemed to dance with possibility. Together, they had just taken the first step toward dismantling an interstellar empire of slavery and exploitation. And they were just getting started. The Stellar Horizons engines thrummed with renewed power, as if the ship itself was eager for the battles to come. The consortium was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating both humanity's ingenuity and the power of willing cooperation between species. Sarah cracked her knuckles and pulled up more engine schematics. It was time to show the galaxy what happened when human determination met crystalline power, with freedom as the goal. The greater threat. 2 weeks after capturing the consortium infiltrator, Sarah's workshop had evolved into something that would have baffled most human engineers. Crystalline structures grew alongside mechanical components, creating hybrid systems that defied conventional physics. At the center of it all, Sarah and Zixna worked in seamless coordination, human intuition merging with alien precision. These quantum efficiency readings are impossible, Sarah muttered, studying her latest diagnostics. We're getting nearly twice the power output with 30% less antimatter consumption. Zixna's wings shimmered with what Sarah now recognized as pride. The crystalline matrices naturally amplify quantum fields, combined with your modifications to the containment systems. Their discussion was interrupted by an urgent knock. Captain Rodriguez entered, his usually composed face tight with concern. "Chen, we got a problem. Our prisoner finally broke." Sarah straightened, exchanging glances with Zixna. "What did they say?" "The consortium's plans go far beyond enslaving pre-FTL species." Rodriguez handed Sarah a data tablet. "They're systematically harvesting quantum-sensitive beings across multiple sectors, building toward something big." Sarah's eyes widened as she scanned the information. A quantum resonance cascade. They're insane. That would tear apart the fabric of space-time across half the galaxy. Not insane. Zixna's wings pulled tight against their back, vibrating with distress. Desperate. The consortium's dominance is built on their monopoly of faster-than-light travel, but their technology is failing. So they're planning to use quantum-sensitive species like yours to trigger a controlled collapse of normal space. Sarah finished, the pieces falling into place. Force everyone to rely on their quantum tunneling technology for interstellar travel. Which they control, Rodriguez added grimly. They'd have a stranglehold on every spacefaring civilization. Sarah's hands clenched into fists. Like hell they will. "Captain, remember those engine modifications I've been working on? The ones you said would revolutionize our propulsion systems." Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "The ones corporate said were impossible. They're not just modifications." Sarah gestured to the hybrid technology surrounding them. "Working with Zixna, we've created something entirely new. A fusion of human engineering and crystalline quantum manipulation. And I think..." She looked at her alien partner. "I think we might have accidentally created exactly what we need to stop them." Zixna's compound eyes shifted in geometric patterns of realization. "The harmonic resonance field we generated, it could counter their cascade, yes." Sarah was already pulling up new schematics. "But we'd need more power, more crystalline interfaces, more of my people," Zixna finished. Their wings spread wide, catching the light in complex patterns. "The research facility where I was held. There are others like me there. If we could free them, it would be a suicide mission," Rodriguez warned. "The consortium's facilities are heavily defended." Sarah's grin was fierce. "They're defended against known technology. But this..." She gestured to their hybrid systems. "They've never seen anything like this. They don't know that quantum resonance can be guided, shaped, turned into something beyond their understanding." She turned to the captain. "We need to make a choice. We can run, try to warn people about what's coming. Or we can hit them first, free Zixna's people, and show the consortium why trying to control the quantum fabric of space was a very, very bad idea." Rodriguez was quiet for a long moment, studying the impossible technology that filled the workshop. Finally, he smiled. "You know, Chen, in all my years of command, I've learned one thing. When humanity faces an impossible challenge, bet on the crazy engineer with something to prove." "Not just me," Sarah said, placing a hand near Zixna's crystalline form. "Us, human and alien, working together. The consortium thinks other species are just resources to be used. We're about to show them the power of willing cooperation." The next hours were a blur of preparation. Sarah and Zixna refined their hybrid systems while Rodriguez coordinated with trusted contacts across human space. The Stellar Horizons crew, upon learning the truth about their crystalline guest and the threat they all faced, threw themselves into the work with typical human determination. "Your people," Sarah said during a rare quiet moment, watching Zixna make minute adjustments to a quantum interface. "They're natural engineers in their own way, aren't they? The consortium just never let them explore that potential." Zixna's wings chimed softly. "We shaped crystal and sound before they came. Built cities that sang with quantum harmonies, but they saw only weapons and tools, not creators and artists. Their mistake. Sarah checked her calculations one more time. Treating thinking beings like resources always backfires. Humans learned that lesson the hard way, through centuries of our own mistakes. Now we get to teach it to them. The ship's engines hummed with new power, human and crystalline technology working in perfect harmony. In the darkness of space, other ships were gathering. Vessels commanded by captains who understood what was at stake. The consortium had spent centuries believing their technological superiority made them unstoppable. They were about to learn that true power came not from control and domination, but from partnership and cooperation. As Sarah looked at the hybrid systems she and Zixna had created, technology that exceeded anything either of their species could have developed alone, she felt a fierce pride. Ready to show the consortium what happens when they underestimate both our species, she asked. Zixna's crystalline form pulsed with determined light, ready to show them what freedom truly means. The Stellar Horizons engines sang with quantum harmonies as they prepared for the fight of their lives. But this time, they weren't just fighting against something. They were fighting for a future where different species worked together, where innovation came from cooperation rather than control. The consortium's grand plan to reshape the galaxy was about to meet something far more powerful than quantum cascades or technological dominance. The combined will of humans and aliens working together toward a common goal. Sarah Chen, surrounded by the hybrid technology she'd helped create, smiled. It was time to teach an interstellar empire about the true power of unity. Breaking chains. The consortium research facility hung in space like a twisted crown, its crystalline spires reaching out into the void. As the stellar horizon approached under stealth, Sarah couldn't help but appreciate the irony. The consortium had built their prison using technology stolen from their captives. Multiple defensive grids detected, Zixna reported, their wings vibrating in harmony with the ship's hybrid systems. Quantum detection arrays, gravitic weapons platforms, and not one of them designed to handle what we're about to throw at them. Sarah's fingers danced across her modified control panel. Around them, the Stellar Horizons engines hummed with impossible harmonies, human engineering and crystalline resonance working in perfect sync. Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. Allied ships in position. Remember, we only get one shot at this. Sarah nodded to Zixna, ready to show them what real quantum manipulation looks like. The alien's crystalline form pulsed with determination, ready to free my people. What followed was unlike anything in human or consortium military history. The Stellar Horizons hybrid systems, guided by Sarah's innovations and Zixna's natural abilities, began generating quantum harmonics that seemed to bend reality itself. The facility's defensive screens, designed to stop conventional attacks, found themselves trying to block energy patterns that shouldn't exist. First barrier down, Sarah announced, watching as their impossible technology tore through the consortium's defenses. Zixna, can you sense your people? Yes. Their wings spread wide, catching and refracting the energy flowing through the ship. They feel our resonance. They're responding. Inside the facility, chaos erupted. The imprisoned crystalline beings, sensing the familiar quantum signatures of one of their own transformed by human innovation, began generating harmonics of their own. The consortium's carefully controlled research prison became a symphony of rebellion. Multiple ships dropping out of FTL, Rodriguez warned. Consortium heavy cruisers. Let them come, Sarah grinned, her hand steady on the controls. Zixna, remember what we discussed. Time to show them why enslaving quantum-sensitive species was a really bad idea. The aliens' compound eyes shifted in geometric patterns of understanding. Together, they initiated the sequence they'd spent weeks perfecting. The Stellar Horizons hybrid systems began broadcasting on frequencies that the crystalline prisoners could naturally amplify and redirect. The effect was devastating. Quantum energy cascaded through the facility, not in the controlled way the consortium had planned, but in a wild, dynamic pattern born of human creativity and crystalline precision. Their carefully constructed prison began to resonate with the very power they had sought to control. Engineering principles, Sarah explained as consortium ships found their weapons failing, their systems corrupted by quantum feedback. You don't try to contain energy this powerful. You work with it, guide it, respect it. Just like you don't try to enslave sentient beings, you partner with them. The facility's containment systems, designed to hold quantum-sensitive beings captive, shattered under the combined assault of human technology and crystalline power. Escape pods launched in carefully planned patterns, each one carrying newly freed prisoners to waiting Allied ships. They're going to trigger their quantum cascade. Zixna's wings flared with alarm as the consortium commanders, facing defeat, initiated their doomsday weapon. No, they're not. Sarah's voice was calm as she activated their final modification. Because we're going to show them what real quantum manipulation looks like. The space around the facility seemed to fold in on itself as Sarah and Zixna, working in perfect synchronization, turned the consortium's own quantum technology against them. The cascade meant to tear space-time apart instead collapsed in on itself, contained and redirected by the combined power of human engineering and crystalline expertise. When the energy dissipated, the facility was a wreck, its consortium defenders floating helpless in space. But the freed crystalline beings were safe, their natural abilities now augmented and guided by human technology freely shared. Multiple consortium ships surrendering, Rodriguez reported, satisfaction clear in his voice. They're requesting to defect. Sarah looked at Zixna, whose crystalline form seemed to glow with triumph. Of course they are. They just watched their primitive subjects completely dismantle their most advanced technology. Speaking of which, she pulled up new schematics on her display. Ready to help me design some ships specifically for your people. I've got some ideas about quantum propulsion that could revolutionize space travel. Zixna's wings chimed with joy. You still wish to work together, even though the immediate threat is over. Are you kidding? Sarah gestured to their hybrid technology. Look what we achieved in just a few weeks of cooperation. Imagine what we could do with years. Real partnership between our species, sharing knowledge and innovations freely. The aliens' compound eyes shifted in patterns that Sarah had learned to read as happiness. The consortium never understood. They sought to control and contain power. But true power comes from working together, Sarah finished. She looked out at the freed crystalline beings being welcomed aboard Allied ships, at the hybrid technology that had exceeded all expectations, at the future suddenly bright with possibility. Different species, different approaches, different strengths, all working together because we choose to, not because we're forced to. The stellar horizon's engines hummed with harmonies that had never existed before humans, and crystalline beings decided to combine their knowledge. It was a sound that promised a future where cooperation replaced control, where innovation came from understanding rather than exploitation. Sarah Chen, human engineer and friend to a crystalline revolutionary, smiled as she began drafting plans for ships that would carry both their peoples to the stars. The consortium had tried to build an empire on slavery and control. They'd never understood that the real power of the universe came from beings choosing to work together, combining their strengths, and overcoming their weaknesses through willing partnership. As human and crystalline crews began the work of dismantling the consortium's power, Sarah knew they'd discovered something far more valuable than quantum technology or faster than light travel. They'd found the true key to advancing civilization, the recognition that every species, every being, had something unique to contribute when given the freedom to do so. The stars stretched out before them, full of possibilities that neither humans nor crystalline beings had imagined before they joined forces. It was time to explore them together, as equals and allies, forever breaking the chains of those who would try to control rather than cooperate. Zixna's wings caught the light of distant suns, their crystalline resonance harmonizing with the ship's engines in a song of freedom and possibility. The future belonged not to those who would dominate, but to those who would cooperate, innovate, and explore together. It was a future worth fighting for, worth building together, one quantum resonance at a time.